Chapter, Chapter 18 The March. Abuela and Don Juan came up the stairs 20 minutes later. By then, I was freezing. Entra, come in, she said. I followed her in and stood around, not knowing what to do or where to look. Abuela threw a blanket on me, then busied herself making café and serving it to us. Don Juan hadn't said much to me since Abuela moved in with him, but now he said, "You and Migdalia should stay out of the way if there is going to be trouble." "There are girl young lords too, you know," I corrected him. Don Juan had no answer for that. Swallowing the last of his café, he put his coat on and walked out the door. "Men," Abuela sneered good-naturedly as he walked out. "I have to get ready if I'm going to the march." "What march?" "There is going to be a march in support of the young lords." Her eyes were dancing. "How do you know?" "Ay, mija, I'm supposed to know these things. Why don't you just lie down until it's time to go?" "Y mommy, your mother is okay." I let it go at that. As I waited for her to get ready, I thought about that golden wild boy who was brave enough to stand in the church and say, "There is something wrong here. This is not a community." His eyes were bright, his skin coppery, he had full lips and what my mother called pelo malo, bad hair because it was kinky. How could hair be good or bad? Like it could behave well or badly on its own. Like it could say something nice and polite or say something mean and nasty. And how could you call hair bad that looks like a crown? It made you look taller and like nobody could knock you down. I wondered if Migdalia thought of that other young lord boy. He was the opposite of the golden wild boy. He was serious looking with stern eyebrows and soft, shiny hair curling out from under his beret. The one with the kind, soft eyes. Suddenly, I imagined the four of us double dating. I would wear jeans and boots and a blue peacoat. I wouldn't even get ready by putting hair curlers in my bangs. I'd let it all loose and natural. Or I could wear it in two long braids like I saw one of those young lord girls wearing. Maybe if I cut it short, it would go into a little Puerto Rican fro that would match my new boyfriend's crown. "Evelyn, come zip me up." I walked into the bedroom. Abuela had changed into long, tight burgundy bell-bottom pants and a long-sleeved gray turtleneck tunic. I helped her with the zipper up the back. "Sit," she commanded. I sat on the bed as she bent over at the waist, shook her hair out, and ran a brush through it from the nape of her neck out. Looking at me upside down and sideways, she said, "This is how I get a lot of volume in it quickly." Standing upright, she let it tumble to her shoulders. She peered into the mirror, pushing the skin up on both sides of her face. She grunted disapprovingly, then began to carefully outline her eyes with a black Maybelline eyebrow pencil. Finally, letting her eyelids pop back into place, she wiped off the excess underneath. After brushing some pink blush and smearing on lipstick, Abuela checked herself out all over again, noticing some lipstick on her teeth. She wiped that off with a tissue, then pressed her lips to the tissue to help it set. She tossed on a knee-length vest and a coat, then handed me one of her jackets. "Let's go march," she said, smiling. There was a crowd at the church that continued to swell. The mood was high, happy, joyful. "Evelyn!" It was Migdalia. "What's up, girl?" I said. "Us, you, me, everybody in El Barrio." We laughed, happy to be part of the sea of army jackets, purple berets, and Puerto Rican flags. "Let's go!" yelled Abuela. We marched. The group grew bigger. Don Juan caught up with us at 112th Street, and I couldn't help sneaking looks at him because I now saw him in a different way. A forward-thinking but still old-fashioned macho kind of guy. I took a peek at his belt to see if he still wore it tight to relieve hunger, but he didn't, and I was happy to see that his belly was nice and round and well-fed. Then I saw Angel. "Yo, Evelyn," he said. "Button your coat. It's cold out here," I said. 6 mounted policemen followed the crowd, and a busload of cops followed us on foot. We stopped on the church steps and held a rally. The young lords repeating their demands of a day-care center and a free breakfast program and all the rest. I looked for the brave golden boy with the crown of hair who had shouted, "There is something wrong here. This is not a community." But I didn't see him. Instead, I saw Pops out of the corner of my eye. I was surprised, but also glad that he was here. He looked at me in a sad and disappointed way. I walked up to him at the edge of the rally. "How come you're not home with your mother?" he said. "Because I want to be here," I answered quietly. "Papi, this is important." That was the first time I called him Papi in my life. I had always saved Papi for whenever I talked about my real father, but this time I was going to use it for Pops because what I was saying was really important. I feel like somebody now, Papi," I said, and if he thought it odd I called him Papi, he didn't say anything. With one of his thick, overworked fingers, he was quick to push away a tear that had dripped from my eye. "Your mother is not feeling well with so much tension going on. Her back hurts." "Not feeling well," I repeated. "The whole barrio isn't feeling well. Angel isn't feeling well. His father isn't feeling well. I'm not feeling well." But then I had to stop because that wasn't true. I was feeling well. Actually, I was feeling good. As a matter of fact, I was feeling great. I hadn't felt this good in a long time. "Papi," I said, "don't worry." He sighed, wondering. I'm sure he had done enough. He sighed, wondering, I'm sure, if he had done enough. Then he patted the top of my head. "Your mother needs you. She had a bad backache." I was feeling so good, but why was I aching too? "Come home," he repeated. "I will. After." Then I watched him walk away looking like he had lost something. "We will not be dissuaded," yelled one of the young lords. "We have the right to determine our own destiny. Puerto Rico should be free." I listened as I looked around. Reporters had come and were taking pictures. Monday morning, Migdalia ran up to me on my way to school, hair flying out from underneath her stocking cap, cheeks all pink with excitement, and waving a copy of the New York Times. "Listen!" And she read the headlines. 8 hurt, 14 seized in a church clash. 3 policemen injured here battling Puerto Ricans. Then she added, "At least this time Wilfredo was arrested for a good reason, not for just being at your bodega after it was broken into." She didn't sound angry, and not because Wilfredo had been let go after the bodega break-in, but this newspaper article was putting any bad feelings behind us. Tearing my gloves off, I reached for the paper so I could read it myself. Migdalia laughed. "Wow, girl." It was December 8th, 1969, and the weather was getting colder and colder, but I didn't care a bit because of the growing warmth in my heart. I read, 5 members of a militant Puerto Rican group and 3 patrolmen were injured in a clash during a service at the East Harlem church yesterday. "Yes, that's just what happened," said Migdalia wistfully. I scanned down the article and continued reading what an eyewitness said. "Some of the guys started to defend their friends, and that's where it started. The police started fighting with the people, and the people started fighting back. The whole place was full of them. If you tried to walk out peaceably, you got your head smashed." I finished reading and folded it up. "Can I keep this, Migdalia?" I wondered if it was time for me to save newspaper articles in my own album. "Yeah." Then somberly, quietly, "What's going to happen, Evelyn?" She looked scared. "I don't know, Migdalia."